we've been talking a lot about Michael Hastings, of course, since he's passed away. One of the things he was worried about was the surveillance state and the war on journalism. So he had this warning on the Young Turks on television. Let's watch.
The Obama administration has clearly declared war on the press. It's declared war on investigative journalists, our sources. I think the only recourse to this kind of behavior by the government is to say back to the government, we declare war on you, and from this point forward, we should no longer, as a media as a whole, cooperate in any manner with the government in terms of when we're doing national security stories. We should withdraw all our cooperation, and we should publish everything we know, because it's a free press. It's not a free except for when the government tells me to do it press. And we've been way too easygoing with these guys. We've let them get away with this for years. We've let them tell us what to print, what not to print. And I say be done with it, and everybody should just get together and fire back, because no one else is going to defend the press.
So Michael Hastings had warned that there was a war on journalism going on, and it turns out he was right. And of course, as we all know, the Associated Press was investigated, but not in a specific way regarding a subpoena, but in a very broad way. And they were very upset about that. And now they are seeing some of the negative consequences of that. And in fact, the top editor for, let me be clear on who he is. In fact, the president of the Associated Press, Gary Pruitt, went to the National Press Club and said a couple of things. First of all, he said, look, they could have been very specific, and they could have gotten our help in investigating one particular claim. Instead, the DOJ acted as a judge, jury, and executioner in private and in secret. Now, what did that lead to? Well, it led to this.
Some of our longtime trusted sources have become nervous and anxious about talking to us, even on stories that aren't about national security. And in some cases, government employees that we once checked in with regularly will no longer speak to us by phone, and some are reluctant to meet in person. Now, the government may love this. I suspect they do. But beware the government that loves secrecy too much.
But that's exactly what the problem is. You intimidate not just the press, but even more importantly, their sources. In fact, Michael Hastings had warned exactly about this as well. Watch.
There is no doubt this is such a massive chilling effect on anyone who's doing serious investigative work, even from a reporting perspective. Now, every time I make a phone call, or colleagues like myself make these phone calls, we have to realize we're putting someone's career at jeopardy, even if they don't even tell us anything, because their name can show up. We had a conversation because what happens is, if your name comes up on one of these lists in these investigations, your phone number, if you're from the White House or wherever, I mean, even if you weren't the leaker, you get a reputation as someone who speaks to the press. So yeah, this is a huge blow to press freedoms here.
Look, Hastings had warned us about Big Brother and the consequences. Unfortunately, we're right in the middle of it right now. And I want to go back and just say two last quotes from him, or one quote from him and one about him that I think is important. He had warned all the way back in 2008 about access journalism, too, when he was on the campaign trail back then, and back then he worked for Newsweek. And he had said, if you're traveling with a campaign day in and day out, it's difficult to get any critical distance on what you're seeing, and the price you pay as a reporter for writing stuff that doesn't echo the campaign's message is excommunication from your sources, which doesn't sit well with your editors back at the Home Office. I mean, I read all the stuff that Michael wrote, and all the things that he said. This is why I thought he was such an important journalist in the country. He was right, he was right, he was right. And then back in 2010, when he did the story on General McChrystal, I thought there was this huge press backlash. Well, Spencer Ackerman wrote that behind the scenes, the backlash was even worse. So he said the amount of hate Michael received from his fellow journalists for that McChrystal piece remains shocking, even years later. They were so mad at him for revealing what powerful people and generals were doing. And that's not how access journalism works. And as I've said over and over again, it was deeply embarrassing to the rest of the press. Michael Hastings warned us about a lot of things. We have not listened yet. And he was not just a good friend, but a great, great reporter. And as you know, and as I've said over and over again, he will be greatly missed.